Super League have finally announced information on the 2026 Magic Weekend. Now I'm going to go through the venue, dates, possible times, travel, and just my overall thoughts on how they've done this and the decisions made around Magic Weekend. Now it's going to be held at the Dickinson Stadium in Liverpool, home of Everton Football Club. My team, by the way, up the Toffees. It's going to be held on the 4th and 5th of July 2026 on a Saturday and Sunday, of course, as it normally is. So I'm going to go through the matchups for each day, and I'll give you a time as well, assuming that the times will be the same from 2025. They might not be, but I'll just give you an assumption. So day one, the Saturday, is Huddersfield versus York around 3 p.m, followed by Hull Kingston Rovers versus Hull FC at around 5:15, and the final game is Leigh versus Warrington at around 7:30. Day two, the Sunday, opens up with Wakefield versus Castleford at around 1 p.m. That's followed by Leeds versus Bradford at around 3:15, and the final game on the Sunday is Wigan versus St Helens at about 5:30. Now, most of you will have noticed that Catalans and Toulouse have not been included in the schedule. For me, this is the right call. Now, I know a lot of people that go to Magic Weekend would either want to see all games or would have been excited to see the French derby. I do appreciate that we're kind of maximising attendance in England, but we're going to give them something presumably in France. They've not said anything about where it's going to be played or what they're going to do. My assumption would be it's not going to be in Perpignan or Toulouse. It might be in Toulouse, but at a different stadium, or it's going to be in a different part of France. Maybe they could collaborate with the French League, do some kind of Magic Weekend with them, and get Catalans versus Toulouse into their Magic Weekend. Possibly, you never know. They're going to release more information down the line though, but leaving them out of this one to maximise attendance here in England, I think is the right call. Now, of course, the rest of the games are also rivals round matchups. There is one that just isn't a rivalry, but Super League have done this to make sure they maximise profits, attendance, and all that good stuff by putting together Huddersfield and York. If it was based on location, it's Leeds versus York, but you don't want to take away Leeds versus Bradford. You just don't want to take that away. So this is fair enough. Huddersfield versus York, it's not a rivalry, but you don't know what kind of attendance Huddersfield fans are going to bring, and that's the same with York as well. You don't know what kind of numbers they're going to bring, so you get that on, out the way, first of the weekend, it's done and gone. Then you focus on the Hull derby afterwards, which is the biggest or second biggest game in Super League, and then you follow that up with Leigh vs Warrington. A lot of people would stick around for that one, and then Leigh vs Warrington is only up the road, so best for travelling fans there. Day two, Wakefield vs Cass is a pretty decent rivalry, but it's the biggest throwaway of the day, so you get that on first, 1 o'clock. You follow that up with Leeds vs Bradford. We know that Leeds bring decent away numbers. Bradford, we'll just have to see. I assume they'll bring a decent crowd. They took a lot of decent crowds to championship games last year. I think they'll be decent in terms of attendance. But then the final game of the day, Wigan versus Saints, the biggest or second biggest game in Super League, final game, and they're only up the road as well, again, for travelling fans. So in terms of the order, the matchups, the whole schedule, I think they've done a really good job here. And the fact that the two French teams will get their own things separately, I think they've done a really good job here. Now then, if you plan on going and you're not really sure what you should do, whether you should drive or get the train, I can give you some pointers. If you've never been to Liverpool before, or you're not really confident or comfortable with the area and how to navigate it, I was an Everton season ticket holder for 8 years. I've been there countless times. I've got you covered. I'm looking after you. Should you take the train or go by car? Well, there's a bit of a trade-off. First of all, if you go on by train, I'll leave a graphic up on screen of if you go from this station, you have to leave as late as this time, it takes you this long, you've got this many changes, and this is how much it'll cost for a ticket. I'll leave that graphic up on screen for a second for you to screenshot, pause, whatever, and look at it. This is some general information. Let's say you're a Bradford fan, but you're actually next to Leeds station, you might as well get the one from Leeds. So a little bit of information for you just on the train situation. Now, your target station is Sandhills. That's what you want ultimately. You want to get off at Sandhills, as it's a 15-minute walk from station to stadium. When you get a train into Liverpool, you'll initially be getting it into Liverpool Lime Street. That's the big station where anyone and everyone comes in from all different locations. Liverpool Lime Street. What you're then going to do is walk up the road from Liverpool Lime Street to Liverpool Central. It's literally up one road, you take the first right, and then it's on your left. It's easy enough to get to. It's a 5 to 10 minute walk, depending on how fast or slow you walk, to get to Liverpool Central, and you go from Liverpool Central to Sandhills. You get off at Sandhills, you walk 15 minutes up the road to get to the Hill Dickinson, sorted. However, if you choose to drive there, you could look for a parking space, like a private car park near-ish to the stadium. If you find one, honestly, well done. Best of luck to you on that front. But if you want the most convenient and typical place to park, you're looking for Q Park, which is Q-Park on, I think it's called Strand Lane. It's between the Albert Dock and Liverpool 1. Now, the problem that me and my mates had when we went to Game 2 of the Ashes was, now there's 52,000 people in the stadium. When the game's done, they're all leaving, pretty much going in the same direction. And then by the time you get to the car park where everyone's parking at, it took us 90 minutes at least to get from our parking space to the exit gate. Bear in mind, we paid £17 for the parking ticket, and then by the time we got to the gate, we had to pay an extra £6.90 because we didn't get out within the hour, so we got charged more. Given it's Magic Weekend, fans might be sort of trickling out of the stadium, so it might not be as bad, but keep in mind, it's the weekend, Saturday and Sunday in Liverpool, so it could be incredibly busy. So keep that in mind. It might take a while to get out of the car park. So the trade-off is, do you want to potentially be sat in the car park for ages, or it's a little bit more convenient getting the train, but costs will be a bit higher. You could be paying something like, again, if you're from St Helens or Warrington, about a tenner, but it sort of goes up if you're in Yorkshire or Hull. You're looking at 40, 50, 70, maybe £90 for a ticket. So that's the kind of trade-off. But if you've got any other questions about trains or driving, anything about the city itself, feel free to ask. Happy to help out fellow Rugby League fans, or even Everton fans that might be watching this that don't have a single clue about Rugby League. Feel free to ask. I've got you covered. But yeah, hopefully that's of some help. So there you have Magic Weekend for 2026. I think they've picked a great stadium. It's a great city to play in as well. Great atmosphere if you fancy a night out in Liverpool. Have fun. Stay safe. It's going to be, I think, a great occasion. It's a great stadium, and I think it's going to be a pretty good event this year. I can promise you that this one's going to be a good one. I think people will thoroughly enjoy it. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions on navigating the area if you've got any. I'll try and help you out as best as possible. But yeah, there you have it. Magic Weekend for 2026 at the Dickinson Stadium. Up the Toffees.